On the roadside in Tulum in Mexico, I remember this sign that said, "You are your own limit." And I remember passing that sign every single day when I was in Tulum. And I remember that sinking deeper and deeper in and impacting me more and more by seeing it consistently and persistently. It sank into my subconscious mind, and I actually realized, yes, I am my own limit, and you are your own limit too. You just got to ask yourself, in what way? In which area of my life am I my own limit? And even without asking, trust me, your subconscious knows. Your subconscious truly knows where you are your own limit, how you are your own limit. It knows. You know, deep down. But what is it that's blocking you? Very often, it's perfectionism. More often than not, it's the dialogue in the mind that says, no, that's the wrong thing to do. That's the right thing to do. That is good. That is bad. It's that inner critic that is so critical that it blocks you from actually truly acting upon this fact that you are your own limit. So very often, perfectionism is self-imposed. It's self-imposed. You put these excessively high standards onto yourself over and over and over again, where you set these limits on yourself for what you should do and what you shouldn't do, what you can do and what you can't do, what you have to do and what you don't have to do at all. It all starts with getting curious about where you are your own limit, how you are your own limit, in what way you are your own limit. Because when you see something, trust me, you can't unsee it. No matter how much you try, you can't unsee it. When the brain, when the spirit beyond the brain recognizes a pattern, what will it attempt to do? It will try to complete the pattern, or it will see the pattern and it will be like, no, it ends here. We're not going to continue this pattern because this pattern doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve anyone. Sometimes there are certain patterns that are meant to be completed. Other times, it's not meant to be completed. So you are your own limit. I am my own limit. In what way? What are the limits you put on yourself? What are the limits you live by? What are the limits that prevent you from truly living, feeling alive, being your spirit, being the light, the sunflower, the bloomer that you truly are, that is unfolding every single day? You know that you have kept or are keeping limits on yourself when you feel contracted, when you feel restricted, when you feel like you can't breathe, when you feel heavy, when you feel like there's this dense energy that you can't rid yourself of, no matter what you do, that is you keeping some limits on yourself. Do you keep limits on yourself in regards to what you should and should not do in relationships, in your romantic relationship if you have one, or friendships, what you should and shouldn't say, what you should and shouldn't do? Or maybe it's regarding career. Maybe it's regarding a business. Maybe it's regarding a project. Do you have certain limits on yourself? What are those limits? Identify them. And when you are beginning to identify the limits, you can't unsee them. Can you? It's like when you're driving on a road and you see a sign by the road and it clearly states, it says 50, 60, 80, 100. That is a limit. You see the limit. You can't unsee it when you've seen it, can you? But you can choose to drive faster than the limit or slower than the limit. That is your choice. So when you see something, when you see a pattern, when you see a limit, you get a choice. Awareness creates choice. It births choice. So right now you have a choice. Will you let this limit be there? Will you go beyond it? Will you go below it? Getting curious about that is the key here. Curiosity. Curiosity, curiosity. You can give yourself a permission slip to go and bloom beyond the limit. But you see, just like with driving, right? This is not a driving lesson right here, but just with driving, just like with driving and any other thing that we've been habitually kind of conditioned to learn, you shouldn't drive beyond the limit, should you? You shouldn't. There's the should. See? But there are times when that serves you, like in the traffic, when you're driving on a road and there are certain limits there to keep you from driving really, really, really fast so that you'll crash. But then there are other limits, right, that are not serving you, that are self-imposed and that are restricting your soul from expanding. You remembering who you are. You remembering the sunlight that you have in your heart that doesn't need any limits imposed on it. Ask yourself, when in the past have I gone beyond a limit? And what did that do in my life? Very often, you actually thrived, didn't you? You thrived beyond it. So you can start looking at when you've already gone and bloomed beyond a limit so that you can see that, I have some track record here. But if you haven't got any, that is such a great chance right now, such a great opportunity to show yourself that you can bloom beyond this limit. That will require commitment, it will require courage, and then you will have the capabilities and the confidence come as a result of that, as an outcome of that. You can't sit around waiting to get the capabilities and the confidence before you bloom beyond this limit in your life, this self-imposed belief, this self-imposed restriction. The capabilities and confidence comes as you bloom beyond it. Right now, focus on having the commitment and the courage to follow through. And the answers as to what happens next, that is up to you and the universe, but more so the universe, because guess what? There is this law that is called the vacuum law of prosperity. This is a law in alignment with the universal principles that actually shows that when there is a vacuum, even in quantum physics, when there's a vacuum, when you create a vacuum, when you basically remove the limits of something, it will automatically begin to attract that which this vacuum is in resonance with. So you will begin to attract that which you are the vibration of when you have this vacuum. Isn't that beautiful? So trust me when I say that that is what happens when you go and bloom beyond these limits. The vacuum automatically fills up again and again and again when you remove and go beyond the limits. So you are your own limit. I am my own limit. And now that we see that, we have a choice. You have a choice. I have a choice. In the Bloom Beyond tribe, you can be surrounded by myself and others who are on the same journey of blooming beyond limits that are self-imposed by self-oriented perfectionism, right? Bloom Beyond is all about being able to overcome perfectionism and create a life and business of freedom from that. And a big part of that is actually blooming beyond these limits, identifying them, seeing them so that you can't unsee them anymore, so that it will become discomfortable, uncomfortable, really strugglesome, right? To continue having these limits there and not blooming beyond them. So in the Bloom Beyond tribe, you can get support in blooming beyond the limits. You can go to bloombeyond.com/apply to apply to join the Bloom Beyond tribe, and we might see you on the other side for a free monthly cohort in there. And then from there, you can explore our paid programs as well, Bloom Beyond Perfectionism and Bloom Beyond Mastermind, to be able to commit to yourself of a year of transformation, right? Where you continuously bloom beyond the limits, because this is not just a one-time thing. Okay? This is not a one-time thing. This is a commitment to yourself, to your evolution, to whom it is that you're growing. And that takes consistency in choosing to bloom beyond the limits. Stay bright, stay brave, and stay balanced as you bloom beyond the limits.